In today's Leeds news, Leeds won't be signing Schmid. Harry Wilson will wait till the summer. Strand Larsen, not a formality. And this weekend's Loan Watch. Hey folks, welcome to the Leeds View, Monday the 19th of January with your Leeds United news. Hope your weekend went really well. It's always a little bit sweeter when Leeds United get a result. There's a lot of stuff to talk about today. We were going to do a video last night about the Romano Schmid story, but there just wasn't really any point in jumping on and just throwing out a bit of information. At this point, it was a case of more waiting and trying to get as much detail as we can. There's a huge amount of detail because last night we were signing them. Today, not so much. There's a lot more detail to get into. We'll cover that along with Loan Watch this week. If you could like the video, share and subscribe. We're heading towards 73,000. And our quest is trying to get to 80,000 by the end of the season, which will be tough. But, if you want a sport channel, you can do it that way. Outside of that, we'll crack on. We'll get stuck into the news because there is a bit to talk about. It'll be slightly more rambly than normal because the information is slightly all over the place. But bear with me, we'll get through all the main points that we have to tick off. We'll start off with Romano Schmid and what's happening there. Right, so a surprise story that came out last night, and it came from Fabrizio Romano, whose track record is excellent. So when he says something, you tend to take it fairly literally or assume that whatever he is going to say is likely to happen. He doesn't tend to tweet without information. But last night he said that Leeds United were negotiating with Werder Bremen around the possibility of a move for playmaker Romano Schmid, with talks ongoing around the €15 million deal. It's about 12.5-ish million pounds. Leeds' relationship with Werder Bremen is a strong relationship right now. There's been a series of transfers back and forth from the club. Obviously, Isaac Schmidt and Max Werber are over there right now from Leeds, and Leeds bought Ilya Gruev from them a few years back. Daniel Farke also, in his press conferences recently, did allude to the fact that he wanted to bring in a creative wide player and a number 10, and that's what he wanted in the summer. Now, you can argue whether Schmid fits the bill of what Buonanotte is already doing since he's come into the club. Buonanotte has played as a wide option as well. Did play there for Leicester in the Premier League. So you could essentially bring both of them in and tick two boxes, but it's not clear right now. Schmid's got some very impressive numbers in the Bundesliga, not just this year, but also last year as well. So the first tweet that came out last night came from Fabrizio Romano, easy for me to say. And he said this: exclusive, Leeds United are in talks to sign Romano Schmid from Werder Bremen. Negotiations are ongoing. Negotiations around the €15 million plus add-ons, with Leeds keen talks ongoing. So that was the first one that came out, and you were like, okay, that's interesting. Another surprise name that hasn't been linked before. Although Joe Donoghue did put out information around him in the summer that Leeds had a look at him then. There was information back in January last year of Leeds having a look at him then. So he's been floating around for a while in those areas, but nothing massively public. The second tweet that came out last night came from the local journalist and came from Graham Smith at the Yorkshire Evening Post. And he said the Leeds were talking about Romano Schmid before they had signed Facundo Buonanotte, and that the club hasn't spoken about midfielders since then, and it's considered incredibly unlikely, unless something crazy or unforeseen happened, that Leeds' focus was on a striker in the remaining weeks of the window, if they could even get that done. So that was that. Who's right, who's wrong? That'll be it, you assume? No, one more comes out. Out comes Florian Plettenberg from Sky Sports Germany. Again, another person with a very strong track record. And he said, backing up Romano's tweet, that there was no agreement in place just yet, but there was a realistic chance of a move from Leeds for Schmid before deadline day, with talks said to be ongoing. Done. And the Sky journalists started having an argument with each other, because Zinny Boswell from Sky Sports UK pops up and he says, nope, not the case. He is told that Schmid is unlikely to join Leeds in this window. It could have happened before Buonanotte, but clearly there is not such a need for him now. Leeds have other priorities in the window. Now, again, you can argue whether Buonanotte and him are the same profile of player. They're both creative players. Leeds arguably need more creative players. Do you just stick with the one? Brendan Aronson's been fantastic this season. His turnaround in form, so do you stack up that position? Other people were saying this is the end of Tanaka at Leeds, and not really. Schmid and Tanaka are not the same profile of player. Tanaka's an 8-6 hybrid, can do box-to-box stuff, can play further forward, but Schmid's a 10. Covers a huge amount of ground as well. Reports then came out this morning that said that Fabrizio Romano's claims that Leeds are negotiating for the attacking midfielder have been emphatically dismissed by club sources. Not a case that Leeds are in for him, but it's worth looking at who Romano Schmid actually is and why Leeds were having a look at him. And he's a player you should probably consider having a strong look at. Facundo Buonanotte is in on loan for Leeds, so this could be one they push out till the summer and try and bring him in then, or negotiate between now and then. He's 25 years of age. He's a central attacking midfielder, very much a number 10, described as a playmaker or a creative 10. This season in the Bundesliga, he started 17 times and has 2 goals and 5 assists. Last season, he clocked up 5 goals and 4 assists, and he's a full Austrian international as well. He's got 1 goal and 2 assists in their recent World Cup qualifying matches. He operates more on the right-hand side for the Austrian national side. For me, he would be filling that final spot for Daniel Farke in that creative 10 position, allowing Buonanotte to play more as a wider player or one of the two behind the strikers. He is known for his high percentage of chance creation. If you look at his statistics on screen, and Joe Donoghue did a great piece on him in the summer as well. This season, Romano Schmid versus Bundesliga midfielders. Key passes, he's first. Expected assists, he's first. Shot assists, he's first. Passes into the penalty area, first. Accurate crosses, first. Deep completions, first. His XG and his XA, he's first in both of those. Successful dribbles, he's top of that one as well in first. And successful attacking actions, he's first. No midfielder has more key passes in the top 5 European leagues. He is a impressive player. He's 25. He's a good age. There will likely be other people start looking at him now as well. But that's the main one that's been floating around. He's a very good player. I don't want to jump into Edward Spurs territory here of going, yeah, I'll have him. But he is an interesting player. Leeds have done well with players coming from the Bundesliga recently. So maybe one to keep an eye on. Probably maybe not for this window, but it's an interesting one. You've got a lot of conflicts there, like 2 Sky journalists disagreeing with each other. You would imagine they would have similar sources and be able to get information from similar sources. Romano doesn't tend to be inaccurate most of the time. Graham Smith's got a very good track record locally. So it's an interesting one to keep an eye on, if nothing else. Let's look at one that's less likely to happen now and will possibly be an option in the summer, and that's Harry Wilson. Right, Harry Wilson was kept pretty quiet at Ellen Road over the weekend, but didn't exactly endear himself to Leeds United faithful when he cynically took out Gabby Goodmunson after he burned him for pace on the left-hand side. But all the talk going into the game was around Harry Wilson's failed move to Leeds United and the possibility of maybe Leeds making a move for him again. Facundo Buonanotte coming into the club probably rules that one out for this window at least. But there has been a lot of talk online and from journalists that says that Harry Wilson will be considering his future in the summer and is unlikely to sign a new deal at Fulham. But reports this morning claim that Leeds are still interested, will make a move in the summer, but will have competition from Everton, Nottingham Forest and Sunderland. And Harry Wilson is said to be keen to get back to the north of England. Obviously, he came through the Liverpool Academy as well, but family in the north of England. The report says that if Jack Grealish is to stay at Everton, then he can rule them out of a move for Harry Wilson. And then from a Leeds and Forest perspective, it will ultimately depend on their Premier League status next season. But Wilson is very much taking his time over his next move. He'll get a loyalty bonus for finishing his contract at Fulham, and then he can negotiate, put lots of clubs up against each other and negotiate himself a very sweet deal if he wants to. All sides in this are said to have strong interest in Wilson in the summer and willing to wait until the summer and try and bring him in on a free transfer. But at that point, you're competing with wages and money, so we'll have to wait and see how that one goes on. But yeah, not great at the weekend, but he's having a hell of a season. But yeah, I'm not going to say anything bad about Harry Wilson because I've been proven wrong on him already this year, so I'm going to leave that one there. But yeah, an interesting one to keep an eye on. Could be a free transfer in the summer, and we've got a decent track record recently on free transfers, so there's that one. Let's move on. Let's talk about Jørgen Strand Larsen. So Leeds' interest in Jørgen Strand Larsen is, as we now know, real and concrete. And some people may have been getting their hopes up over the course of the weekend when his agent popped up at Elland Road. But Graham Smith has told us we can read into this or we can not read into this if we want to. But his agent is a Leeds United fan and is a season ticket holder. And that might, you never know, influence the player's decision making in some capacity. The fact that the agent has an insight into what it's like to be a Leeds United fan and what Leeds fans expect. But Isaac Johnson in Leeds Live today has done a update on the situation and given us a kind of state of play where we are with this move right now. Johnson says that Leeds United are waiting to see what Wolves' response will be to their initial inquiry before they make their next steps, but a January arrival is seen as complex. He goes on to say that Leeds maxing out their PSR in the summer means that Leeds would need some creative financials in order to make this deal possible, with some headroom needed in order to bring him in on a permanent deal. Now, Johnson does say that transfer fees can be amortised over the length of his contract, but payments being spread over a longer term on the length of the contract, but in the short term it would still come with a bit of a headache for Leeds United. They may still need to move some players on to make that headroom. Johnson says that this move is by no means a formality for Leeds at this point, and Leeds haven't tabled and not for form at this point. But Strand Larsen is a player that Leeds have admired for quite some time. The other piece to this is Crystal Palace's interest in Strand Larsen as well. There was a lot of talk over the last couple of days that Jean-Philippe Mateta will leave Crystal Palace. Obviously, Oliver Glasner's confirmed he's leaving at the end of the season. They lost Mark Gahey last week as well. So there's possibility of him moving there, and Strand Larsen is seen by Crystal Palace as the replacement for them. The position that Leeds have and the relegation position that Leeds are in right now, are fighting for the relegation survival right now, might be an indicator in this as well. But a striker is still the most likely move for Leeds United in the remaining couple of weeks of the transfer window. We'll see if Leeds can get anything done. But what is being said is Leeds will only make a move for a striker in the last couple of weeks if the right set of circumstances are there for them to do it, financially, player, all of that stuff. We don't know the finances of Leeds. We don't know. The club are keeping their cards very close to their chest. There was about a 7 to 10 million wiggle room in the summer because we were trying to bring in Harry Wilson at that point. Leeds can still sell players before the 30th of June PSR deadline. So there is ways of doing this if they want to bring him in. He is and does appear to be the most concrete one for Leeds right now. The Danilo Doki stuff has gone away. Borussia Dortmund have got involved in that. Newcastle United have got involved in that. So that could be a tougher one. And Leeds would ideally like him in the summer, not right now. And with James Justin playing at right centre back at the weekend, Daniel Farke seems to be happy enough with the options that he's got in defence right now. So you're probably looking at one more player coming in for Leeds, and it looks likely to be a striker and not a central attacking midfielder. Right, that's the transfer stuff out of the way. Let's get into the loan watch before we wrap up today's video. Start off with Largi Ramazani. And he was an unused sub for Valencia in their 1-0 away win at Getafe. Isaac Schmidt started for Werder Bremen in their 3-3 draw with Frankfurt. Played 64 minutes in that game before he was substituted. Romano Schmid got an assist in that game as well, just to add that to the mix. Max Faber is out injured again, so he had no involvement in that game. Mateo Joseph started for Real Mallorca in their 3-2 home win over Athletic Bilbao. He played 73 minutes before coming off. He did win a penalty for Mallorca that was missed just afterwards. He didn't take the penalty, but it was missed. Joe Gelhardt is still out injured at Hull City right now. He missed their 2-1 away win over Southampton. Harry Gray made his debut for Rotherham United, started and played 90 minutes in their 3-2 away loss to Stockport. Really bizarre OG in that game as well. It's floating around online. Goalkeeper kicks the ball against the back of the head of the defender and it shoots into his own net. Rory Mahadi started and played the full game for Scunthorpe United in their 2-2 draw away to Morecambe. Devin Brocky came on to make his debut for Cleethorpes, came on the 86th minute in that game. No real involvement in it. Really tough to find information about Cleethorpes. They don't publish their team sheets, so that's been a tough one to find out. Conor Douglas, though, he came on in the 71st minute for Buxton in their 4-0 home win over Marine, and he managed to get an assist for their fourth goal in that game. Former Leeds United midfielder Keane Coleman was also involved in that game, and he scored for Buxton as well. So two Leeds players, or one current Leeds player there right now. So yeah, mixed bag for the loanees this week. More games. Interested to see if Joe Gelhardt can get back in the next couple of weeks and refine the form that he had in the first half of the season. Folks, that'll be it for me today. There will be more stuff out over the course of the week, and there will be like surprise live streams and transfer talks if any information comes out that's worth talking about in any kind of detail. We won't just jump on for the sake of it. We'll make sure that whatever we do jump on, there's some detail to actually talk about. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Back tomorrow morning. We'll have the podcast out tomorrow night as well, and we'll get ready then for Leeds' next game at Everton. Right, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon. See you later. Bye.